We're going to give you our impressions of the 8-speed, the 8 HP. It's a very popular swap at the moment.
I'm ready to do it, Dylan. Let's go. I want to put one in the car myself.
Those are nice demerit points you got there. You don't want to get rid of them. For those of you who haven't seen this car on the channel before, if maybe you're new or you've been living under a very small rock, this is Mitchell's S14. It's an RB2630 combo with an 8-speed, an 8 HP behind it. We built this car, we finished it off this year, or in the last couple of months we finished it off, and it's sort of been gradually getting more and more finished behind the scenes to sort of where it is now as you see it. Pretty much entirely complete. The only thing that's left to do is to gas up the aircon and go for a nice summer cruise in some air conditioning, but unfortunately we can't do that today, but that's not going to stop us. What we're going to do is we're going to give you a brief, quick rundown over the car. We'll give you a brief, this is that and that and that, and this is what it's got and this is what it did. And then we're going to go and take this for a drive. We're going to bring you along with us so you can sort of experience secondhand what it's like to drive one of these cars with the 8-speed behind it. So when we finish this thing, there's a couple videos on this car. They'll be here or in the description of actually building this and finishing it. And when we did that, we said that we were going to do another video down the track where we actually sort of gave you some first-hand experience that we've had about what we thought about it, how it drives, what it's good at, what it's bad at, everything like that. Our impressions, that's what it is. We're going to give you our impressions of the 8-speed, the 8 HP. It's a very popular swap at the moment. People are doing them left, right and center. And at the time of putting it in the car, we didn't really have any experience to say, you should go ahead and do this, or you shouldn't do this, or if you want to do this with it, don't do it, stuff like that. Now we sort of have that experience a little bit. Obviously we're not experts on the subject, but we have enough experience to where we can give you our opinion and sort of point you in the right direction as to whether or not we think it's viable for you or your car or somebody else's car. So pretty much what we've got, this is an RB2630. It made 800 horsepower. It's a G42 compact turbo, so it's a very keep it simple combo. I don't know why it's made so many syllables. It's a very keep it simple combo. RB30, RB26 head, mid-size turbo. Everything up here, there's no real secrets. There's nothing really exciting going on. It's just a really well thought out, simple RB26 combination.
I think this is pretty exciting over here.
I don't know what you're looking at. Oh yeah, this. Ooh, does that make it better?
No.
You can't tell the difference, can you?
It really doesn't.
It's got a little under bonnet light there. So yeah, there's nothing super exciting about that up front, or nothing like groundbreaking up front. And then this car's actually been in the works for quite a long time. It was originally getting a T56, then it was getting a Power Glide. Then Mitchell changed his mind for the third time around and decided he wanted to go the 8-speed route. So he went ahead and got all those parts, we got them in, and so obviously, as I just mentioned and have previously mentioned, this car is running an 8 HP 70. RB in an S chassis was never meant to be there. They're meant to have SRs or CAs. Or KAs, depending if you're from America.
Not much room.
Not much room when you put in an RB and then a fan shroud and then a radiator. So basically the issue you want to run into is you have to delete your AC condenser. The way that you get around that, or the way that we have specifically gotten around that, is we have moved the AC condenser to the rear of the car so we can go to the back. All right, so we flat floored the boot, cut the spare wheel out, put a flat plate in, welded it in, seam sealed it, put sound deadener all over it. Mitchell is going to get the rest of this boot retrimmed so that it'll be absolutely Mickey Mouse in there. But the reason that we cut the wheel well out is so that we can fit, if you have a look up in there, we can put it on a hoist later if we need to.
You see that?
You see that? Yeah, there you go. Yeah, so we put a universal AC condenser up under the boot and then mounted a big 16-inch spal fan to it. And then the aircon lines will be running forwards to the pump. It's obviously not the most ideal solution. Ideally, you want the pump and the condenser as close as they can be together, but we spoke to a few aircon guys and they said that we should have no issues running it back here as long as we run the biggest one that we can and we run a giant fan on it. So that's what we did. We've put it back here. We are going to gas this AC very, very soon. We're waiting on the last few little things to turn up and then we can actually gas the aircon and we can test it. So that'll be exciting. What do we want to do? We want to go inside? Let's go inside. Let's go inside. So inside we've got a Haltech IC7 keypad. We got a little turbo Lamic LCD. We've got the DCT shifter there from 8-speed, Nexus R5, and then slightly under that, you've got the Turbolamic TCU, which controls purely the gearbox side of things. We're gonna get some fuel, and then we're gonna take it for a drive, and we'll sort of talk you through a bit more of the actual 8-speed and using it and all the different drive modes and stuff like that.
Because then it would have been seamless.
Seamless.
Oh, it is seamless on the GoPro. We're here. We have arrived. Start it up, Sam.
Inside the car, the way that I wired this thing is it uses the ignition barrel still for basically turning power onto the car, and then pretty much everything else is controlled from the keypad. So your start stop button is part of the keypad, so you basically put the key in, turn the key on to ignition, and then you start it using the keypad. You also turn the engine off using the keypad, and then we also have our boost levels here. It's got anti-lag on it, power steering pump, Tesla to the moon, Jesus. It's got Astra power steering pump in this thing, so that is on a button here as well, so I can turn it on and off. If we were, say, just sitting here with the key on, working on the laptop or something, we can just turn the pump off so it's not constantly running. And then, as you said before, the exhaust valve, so this has an AES valve on it, so at the moment the valve is closed, so it's as quiet as the car can be basically, and then we'll open it. And the valve opens and the car gets louder. Does make a fair bit of a difference inside, but definitely outside it makes more of a difference. Close it back up. All right, so 8 HP things is what we're here for. So pretty much at the moment we're in P1, right? So P1 is probably what you would call your cruise mode, your absolute just lovely, smooth, soft, as calm and as chill. Your chill cruise mode. So this is full auto, and it should be like nice soft shifters. Should be nice soft shifting, or nice soft shifts. And then from there you can go up to P2 and P3, which are basically, think of it like a sports shift. So it's still auto, it's still fully auto, you don't have to change gears manually, but the shifts will be a little bit firmer, a little bit quicker. And then from there we basically we'll go up straight to P8, which is our full manual mode, which is full, you have to shift gears, and stuff like that. So pretty much, if we want to drive it as an automatic, all we do, handbrake off, put our foot on the brake. So when you wire these things in, they need to have a brake input. So you put your foot on the brake, the ECU knows that you've got your foot on the brake, it will let you select the gear. If you don't have your, actually, let me test that for a second. Yeah, didn't think so. So if you don't have your foot, that's how I wired it, but I wasn't sure. If you don't have your foot on the brake, the car won't let you go into gear. It'll just sit here in neutral. So basically, you put your foot on the brake, pull it back as if you would any other car, and now we're in second gear. So because these things have 8 gears, most, or pretty much every single mode will automatically start in second gear. Squealing on the concrete. Pretty much every mode will start in second gear, because first gear is basically useless. Unless you've got like a super low ratio diff, then first gear is basically a waste of time. It's just way too short. So pretty much everything will start in second gear. Also, the other reason that it does that is so that it's a smoother takeoff. So pretty much this is full auto mode, and I'm gonna have to have the windows down because it's fucking hot. This is full auto mode. So basically, you drive it around as if you just put your car in drive, and it shifts for you. Fuck, it's low. So that's 6th gear already. There's definitely, I would say there's definitely some fine tuning that we could do on this, just judging by how it's pulling into gear a tiny bit. So I haven't actually driven this thing again since we first tuned it at the Prodigy Day. We took this thing to the Prodigy Day, and that was sort of the first time that it had been driven. So it definitely feels like I could soften up these shifts a tiny bit. So if you're like, that's fucking sick. Sorry, Mitchell. I'm gonna let him win this one. Yeah, we could definitely soften these up a tiny bit, but
Of course, as soon as you go out on the street, someone
little, yeah.
wants to be like,
Yeah.
You sure want those demerit points, boy?
You sure you like, there's some nice demerit points you got there, you don't want to get rid of them? The gearbox will do its own adaptations, which will basically where it learns its clutch positions and all that sort of stuff, but there is a sort of an overriding table that allows you to adjust that further. So you can sort of feel, I'd say second to third, and third to fourth are a tiny bit too harsh. So it's basically applying a slightly too much pressure to those shifts. So when it shifts, you can feel the car kind of push you forward a little bit. It's harsh, it kind of drags. So you just want to soften them up a tiny bit and it gives you like a much smoother progression. Just when you're on part throttle. Obviously when you get into more throttle and more boost, you want them to be more aggressive. But other than that, like you don't even, it's exactly like an auto. You don't think about it, you don't downshift, you just brake and the car downshifts for you. Like we're sort of on a downhill now and it's just holding 6th gear, it's holding the speed that we're doing. We're not running away, like gaining a bunch of speed on a slight downhill. And it's downshifted to 4th there for the corner. And then a little part throttle, 4th, 5th, into 6th, like super nice, super smooth. Anything above 4th or 5th gear seems like it goes into gear really nicely. So I'll definitely, when we get back, I'm definitely going to touch those earlier gears just a tiny bit, just to make them a bit softer. But
is that an easy enough process?
Yeah,
on the laptop?
Just on the laptop and adjust one of the tables.
Yeah.
It's basically just a pressure table. So it's like when we're going uphill now, so we'll go down to 6th, bit more throttle, down to 5th. And then once it, like, so this table that we're in at the moment is essentially, for the most part, with some tweaks here and there, it's entirely stock, I guess you could call it. Like, this is basically like a cookie cutter file from Turbolamic, and they base their tables off of a NA 6-cylinder, a BMW 6-cylinder. So whenever you're in any NA driving, the tables will work for the most part, and they'll be quite good. It's just, once you get into boost that you actually have to start adjusting things to make sure that you don't fry your gearbox. But the actual like NA cruising driving of this gearbox, basically straight out of the packet, straight out of the untouched files, basically, is really good, especially from the Turbolamic. Obviously we've only done Turbolamic, so I can't comment on CAN TCU stuff or anything like that, but the Turbolamic base files that they've based off of I think it was the N54, are really good. But yeah, the whole like concept behind the 8 speeds is obviously they're a Eurobox. They put them in BMWs and stuff, so the whole idea behind them is that we can drive around in this auto mode and not even think about touching a shifter or doing is, like you can just jump in and go for a drive, go down to the shops, go on the highway, do whatever you want, and you don't have to like think about it. You can just drive. Yep. And then, but the added benefit is we can then switch the mode and go to a full manual mode, and you can get that sort of driving experience again, and you can get that feel again. Whereas with
it's the
best of both worlds is the whole concept of it, is that you're trying to be able to do, like, you're always trying to do the most that you can with your car, and sometimes you have to make a compromise. You got to make a compromise somewhere, but the whole idea behind this gearbox is that they're trying not to make a compromise. You're trying not to compromise on anything.
The no compromise.
The no compromise street car gearbox. So we can put it in drive and go and cruise, but then we can switch it to full manual mode, and you can go and have that feeling of rolling through the gears, Whereas if you've got like a Turbo 400, you've always got that race car-y feel to it. You've always got to clunk it through the gears. You've always, you don't get to just put it in drive and cruise around. Or if you've got a manual, same thing. You've always got to be changing gears. Obviously, you can drive it softly, but it's not the same as just putting it in drive and tootling off. All right, so that's like the auto mode, right? So I think probably the biggest draw card for most people for these things is the fact that you can drive them in full manual mode, right? Not only that, so we'll switch this around to full manual mode, right? And you can also put a clutch in it, all right? So there's obviously 3 pedals down there. I don't know if you can see there's 3, but there's 3 pedals, all right? So the third pedal, the clutch pedal, is obviously not connected to a slave anymore. It's connected to a spring. So the spring gives you the mechanical feel to it, right? And then you have a linear position sensor, or a linear position, not an actuator, it would be a sensor. So you have a linear position sensor attached to the clutch pedal. That information is fed to the turbo lamic, and then what that does is emulates how much you're pressing the clutch, tells the gearbox, and it applies the clutch pressures accordingly. So if you look on the screen here, you can see if I just press the clutch a tiny bit, it says clutch 2, so that's 2%, 3, 4, 20, 40, 100, right? So that's 100% clutch. I've got my foot 100% of the way on the clutch, right? So now, you saw before, when I pulled it into gear, or I can probably show you better this way. So if I'm just sitting here, no foot on the clutch, and we pull it into gear, it wants to go. Like you can feel it, it loads up and it's trying to go. If I let my foot off the brake, it'll go, right? So if I now put my foot on the clutch and I let my foot off the brake, we're actually gonna roll backwards, right? So the clutch completely disengages the gearbox. So if you were, say, this car specifically doesn't have a lot of vacuum at idle, so it likes to try and push over the brakes. Or if you've got, like this has also got big wheelwood brakes on it, so big wheelwood brakes and the factory Nissan master cylinder don't play super well together. So if you're at low speeds, it likes to try and push over the brakes. So that's where the clutch is sort of useful in that sense, because you can just completely disengage the car. So say if you were sitting at a set of lights or something and you didn't want to sit there with it like sort of lumping around and trying to go, you just put your foot on the clutch. Obviously the other reason, and the reason that most people do it, is for drifting. So you can drift with this gearbox, you can clutch kick it. I know, so Mitchell's tried to drift this thing once before, I believe, and the only thing he did say is that the actual clutch kick was a little bit delayed in its reaction time. So you'd sort of kick it and then like a second later it would actually do what you intended it to do. I've had a little bit of a look through and adjusted some things. Whether or not that's going to make that better or worse, he'll have to drive it again and sort of let me know. But it's one of those things where you sort of, these things are pretty new, so we're still working through all the little details of it. But that's obviously still a very cool function to have. So now we've got a completely automatic gearbox, we've got a semi-automatic gearbox, and then we also have a completely manual gearbox in essence. I would love to show you some of the manual shifting and actually get into a bit of boost, but it's actually just started pissing, well, not pissing down rain, but when you're in an 800 horsepower car, this is pissing down rain. Yeah. We're gonna have to sweat too, it's coming in. I mean, this is probably as good a test as any, really. It's raining in an 800 horsepower car and you don't have to worry about, like if you've ever driven a turbo 400, like a performance turbo 400, that 1 to 2 shift, pretty much every time wants to knock the tires off it unless you short shift it immediately. So I guarantee anybody who's driven a turbo 400 knows what I'm talking about. You roll up, if you don't short shift immediately out of first, when you click it into second, it's gonna chirp the tires. So you can imagine if you're in the rain and it chirps second, you're gonna be in a spotted bopper. But that's why this one's so good, because it doesn't do that. It's just as soft as you want it to be. Actually raining.
It is. Can confirm.
Can confirm, and I'm sweating. That's the wrong fucking driveway.
Recycling truck was going for us. This is Aramex. Welcome to our new headquarters.
Oh well,
everyone.
we're going in here. Take some photos in Aramex or what?
Yeah, surely. Basically the same sheds, just
I looked at the driveway, I was like, yeah, this is it. And then I was like, wait, that's not it. Oh, we'll go exit over here, even better. Try again, shall we? Oh,
just take the footpath.
I'm tempted. If we were in the Morris, let me tell you, stay for it. Holy shit! Some fucking water.
Just in case you weren't sure whether it was actually raining or not, Justin seems to have moved the Rodeo.
Yeah, it should be inside. Hopefully he moved in enough. He did. Good boy.
What a good man.
What a man.
Alright, we'll be back later.
Yeah, when the weather clears up, we'll try and do this again so that we can get you a a better idea of, I mean, you get the gist, I'm sure, but like,
We'll be back.
we'll be back.
It's a better day today.
Yeah, it's nice and sunny.
Much nicer. It's bloody,
Andy's going.
it's a cracker day to go for a drive.
No rain.
Let's go. The thing I love about it, I guess I could say just from having a little drive of it now and then like knowing what they can do, is you can put it in, we'll change it here. We'll go back to the full auto mode. We'll slow down here because we're coming onto the highway. You should be able to swap this around to number 1. So this is full auto mode. So you can just drive it, and then now it's just driving like your normal auto car, which is pretty cool. You know, give it a bit here now, just coming into it. Like, that's pretty sick. It just drives like a normal auto car, which is pretty cool. I do find that really cool. And then same thing, you can switch it back here in the modes, back to number 8, and then we can go back to a manual. So, you know, shift it like a normal would, just sequential. Hold the gears, have a bit of fun with it. And then, you know, also you can use like a transbrake sort of function with it like you do with normal auto. So it's pretty cool. I like, yeah, the different options you can have with it, which is cool. If you want to drive it like a manual and use the clutch, you can, or you can put it in a city mode, I guess you could say, and just sit back and just relax and enjoy the ride in your car. So yeah, so that's pretty sick. You know what, let's open the valve up for a little bit while we're cruising with it as well. So we can make it sound like really nice RB sounds. We can have it idling like a nice RB. We can use the clutch emulator as well to hold it, so you know, use the clutch like something normal, which is also another really cool feature. We can go back to having it quiet so we can actually hear each other talk, you know. I mean, once we finish the aircon off on this thing and the customer puts the stereo back in it, I mean, it's the ultimate sort of little street car. 800 horsepower, you can have the option of being in a full auto mode, or you can have the options of driving it like a manual. I mean, you got the best of every world. It's a really cool concept that they've done with it, and yeah, I think, like I said, over the next year or two, you know, whatever, people are going to get more and more better at fine-tuning these gearboxes and stuff, and more stuff will come out about them. So I do see there will be a big future for these, but at the same time too, yeah, dollar value wise, you are similar to what in the sequential world. So it's all going to depend on what you want, I guess. But you know, you pay the same money for a sequential, but you don't have that option of being able to put it into an auto mode and just drive quietly with it, like you do with this one. So I think it's, in my opinion, it's just going to come down to what sort of driving and everything you're going to do with it. If you're going to do a bit of racing here and there and just have a nice street car as well, it's definitely an option to have a look at.
Yeah.
So
I think it's definitely like watch this space and see what happens with these gearboxes.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
Our first impressions.
I like it. It's like it. Yeah. I want to put one in the car myself. Yeah. I'm ready to do it, Dylan. Let's go.
Let's do it.
You sold me on it. So no, I do like it. It is yeah, really cool. Like I said, I'd love to have one in my own car, in one of my own cars somewhere, and just so we can feel it out more ourselves. You know, maybe push it to the limit.
Yeah.
We'll have another car hopefully soon, and we'll maybe chuck one in it and see what we can do.
Watch this space.
Watch this space. All the socials, TikToks, Instagrams, Facebooks, YouTubes, all of them.
Come and buy some goddamn merch.
Yeah, buy some merch. Jump on their website, streetracesolutions.com.au. It'll be down here. Jump on, buy some merch, support us. If you're not following, make sure you're following. Like the video. It helps us to grow the channel. But yeah, so until next year, hope everyone has a happy holidays, Merry Christmas, and Happy New Year. And we'll see you in 2025 for some shenanigans.
Whoa!
Let's go, baby!